Hello, everyone. Welcome to the October Town Hall for the Data on Kubernetes community. My name is Hugh. I'm community lead here at DoK, Data on Kubernetes. And we are, this is a monthly town hall we do this time every month. Great to be with you all today. We've got a great workshop, a very practical workshop today lined up, which is going to be fantastic. I'm looking forward to that. Before we get into it, I just have a few community announcements and things to share. So I'm just going to share a couple things with you quickly. There we go. Ooh. Okay, cool. So that's DoK community. First up, just thank you to our gold sponsors, Google Cloud and Percona, for making all this possible. We've got a bunch of other sponsors as well. If you go to dok.community/sponsors, you'll be able to see all of them. Have a look around. There's some fantastic companies in there that help make all of this possible, all of this a reality. So it's great to have them on board. There's a couple really big events coming up that we're very excited about. One is at KubeCon this year in Chicago in November, which is very soon. We have a DoK Day on November 6th. So that's going to be really, really cool. For KubeCon this year, they're doing a whole bunch of co-located events. So you buy an all-access pass and you can go to all the different co-located events, and DoK Day is one of those. And it's on November 6th. The KubeCon lasts for a few days, but that's when the 6th of November is when DoK Day is. So you can register for that today. There's some very cool stuff happening there. Very excited for that. And then also that week on November 9th, which I think is the Thursday of that week, we're doing a panel as well. You can find more details on the KubeCon site there. There's a panel with some people from our community involved. And then also another event coming up is the event itself is only in March next year, the Southern California Linux Expo, SoCal Scale. This is the 21st one next year, the 21st annual event. So they've been going for a while. But the one for March next year, there's going to be a DoK track, which is super exciting, all focused on DoK, Data on Kubernetes. And the CFP for that, the call for papers, is open till November 1st this year. So that's just under 2 weeks. If you're interested in speaking at that, then please apply. It'd be great to get some expertise from this community in there. The event is in March next year. It's a great event. Like I said, it's been going for, this is the 21st edition. So, it's very well established and there's some great stuff happening there. And then next week, if you're in the Bay Area, and even if you're not, it's still happening, you can get there. Where there's a in-person meetup happening. The details are all, I actually didn't put the link in there. I'll grab the link quickly for you. I'll get the link after this and put it in the chat. But the Bay Area DoK community meetup is hosting an event with 4 great speakers. There's 3 sessions, two sessions and a lightning talk, all focused on distributed SQL and stream processing on Kubernetes. It's going to be really, really interesting. There's a meetup.com link, which I will drop in the chat just after this. I'll pull it up and drop it in the chat so you all can get to that. So come along to that. It looks like Diogenes is dropping links in the chat for you. So thank you, Diogenes. I appreciate your initiative there. Thank you, because I just forgot about the links. Cool. That's coming up next week. Come along to that. And that is all announcements for this week. Today we have Andreea Munteanu from Canonical speaking with us, doing a workshop, very practical, hands-on workshop. I'm very excited for. I'll let her introduce her topic in much more detail because she'll know a lot better than me. Getting started with AI on AWS with MLFlow and Notebooks on Kubernetes. It's going to be really interesting, very practical, which I love. We're going to get started with that now. At the end, we will have stick around. There'll be a little quiz at the end where you can win a DoK t-shirt, Run DoK shirt. So stick around for that at the end. But for now, I will hand over to Andreea. Over to you. I'll stop sharing my screen.
Thank you, and hello everyone. I'll have to confess, I'm a bit nervous. It's my first time with the DoK community, but I'm excited to be here. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Meanwhile, I maybe start introducing Canonical. We are the company behind Ubuntu, the biggest Linux distribution, and I'm the AI product manager there. I've been working with Canonical for almost 4 years now. Today I'll be talking about how to get started with AI on AWS with MLFlow and Notebooks on top of Kubernetes, as Hugh already said. Why AWS? Well, because it has all the compute power that you might need. MLFlow notebooks are easily accessible, and on top of K8s, because in Canonical we do love cloud native applications. I would like to encourage everyone to stop or to ask questions in the chat if you want, or if something is unclear, don't shy away. I don't like when I hold workshops and there are monologues. So shortly we'll talk a bit about AI, then AI on the public cloud, and then we will move towards an intro to MLflow, and finally a hands-on experience, which I hope it will be fun. At the end of it, I'll share all the links as well, so you can have fun even afterwards. Get started with AI. At the moment, I'm running a workshop, so I feel like I'm just repeating myself a lot, but I always say you should never start with AI just for the sake of it, but identify a use case. Don't do it because, I don't know, your best friend does it. Don't do it because you heard my talk and you thought it was fun. Just do it because, or begin with a use case that you believe. Otherwise, on one hand, you will not find return on investment on what you do, but then also you will easily get bored or frustrated. Back when I started initially, I found a use case that I deeply enjoyed. It was for Romanian language because I'm originally from Romania and there was no AI or no more or less text to speech for Romanian. And that's what I've built. And then after that, I end up doing use cases and working only on use cases. Once you have the use case, look at your data. And I always say again, data is the heart of any AI project. If you don't have data, it's going to be difficult to build any project. But at the same time, you have to assess your data. How often is collected? How good it is? Do you have enough data volumes? Because otherwise, you might struggle and you might find it difficult, or you might find that your performances are not good. Then you'll move towards the stack, and I think that's where a lot of data scientists. I don't know. Do we have a lot of data scientists in the room? I would love to hear that. So then a lot of data scientists love looking at the stack, but then they also get frustrated because of all the incompatibilities that go up there. And finally, you build your model. That's what we all love doing. We build models, we validate models, we play with parameters, we play with data sets, depending on what's the approach that you have, if it's model-centric or data-centric. And in the end, you deploy your model. Whereas this is, it feels like a flow that's linear. It's always a process that repeats and needs to be repeated because people's behavior changes over time as well as data does, and your model can easily become outdated. To get started with AI, you can and you should always start locally on an Ubuntu workstation. But I say this because I work at Ubuntu. Of course, you should start on the OS or on the environment that you like the most. Ensure that you have enough resources, and then as your project grows and you start having needs such as repeatability, reliability, you will start introducing different tools in your stack. MLflow is one of them. It's, I think, one of the most popular tools, but we'll get to that. And then you can always scale with open source using Kubeflow, for example, and deploy AI at the edge with different tools as well, or frameworks such as Triton or Seldon. I did not mention something. I do have open source under my skin and in my heart. I'll be talking and I'll be using open source tools throughout this workshop and in general in Canonical. That's what we talk about. I think they are nice to help you get started without a big investment, and they're also nice in the long run because they give a lot of flexibility. Then again, I think this is a bit obvious, but why it's important to run artificial intelligence? Well, I think it started initially with research, and that's something that we see heavily in the industry. But nowadays, it goes far beyond, from personalized experiences to process improvement, task automation, or cost savings. We all can easily find reasons why we should use our AI, and I don't think it's necessarily needed for me to go into details. But why AI on public cloud? That's maybe easier and more interesting to catch on. The truth is that public clouds are handy, they are accessible to everyone, and they are quite easy to use. So they give you an environment where it's easy to install things, and they support open source tools. In Canonical, we do have managed or support services, but that's not that important. As important it is to the ease of maintenance, as well as the ability to get all the capabilities of an open source MLOps platform on an environment that can actually provide you the compute power that you need. And I'll move now towards MLFlow. Its journey started around 5 years ago with its first release. And I think what the community did great was to actually always run surveys. The first one was 6 months later to understand the customer needs, user needs, in order to actually improve the product and make it a user-driven product. The first release comes in the same year, and I think another important milestone came when MLFlow integrated with PyTorch. From 2020 until now, it integrated with plenty of other tools, and it's quite nice to see how easy and how seamless it works with many of them. If I look at important milestones, I think the day or the month when they announced having 10 million users, it's important because if we think of AI getting a lot of traction only in the last couple of years, when I was a student, AI was really considered a unicorn, whereas nowadays it's mandatory in universities, in engineering schools and computer science universities. I think there is a huge step because the educational system understood that artificial intelligence and machine learning is here to stay. And then this number of users just confirms it. Last but not least, in September this year, Canonical released its own distribution, Charmed MLFlow. And with this, I'll go to the challenges that MLFlow solved. And the truth is that data scientists struggle with experiment tracking, with code reproducibility, but also with package standardization. There were way too many packages or methods to package, and that was frustrating, but also model management because both we don't experiment once, but also we don't have only one model. And how do we manage and track these things was a challenge that data scientists had. So I do think that actually MLFlow came with some great capabilities or some great tests by giving the ability to professionals as well as enthusiasts to reproduce results, to have an easy way to get started. I remember I recorded a video a couple of days ago or a couple of weeks, and actually you can install MLFlow in less than 5 minutes. It took me 3 minutes. And it's worth mentioning that nowadays as a product manager, I don't have enough time to tinker with technology, so I feel I'm a bit slow. But then it is environment agnostic. You can deploy it directly on your machine, but you can also deploy it on K8s the way that we'll do today. That's exciting, and I think that's interesting because then it gives easy a way to migrate or to look in perspective on why do I do this project? How do I think it will evolve over time? But also it works anywhere, everywhere. Anywhere. If it's private or public cloud, it has no problem. So what is MLFlow? Do we know what's MLFlow here in the room? Can we have some reactions, some, I don't know, any kind of reaction, or we don't know? Let's see.
I think everyone's muted for these, but you all can respond in the chat. There's a text chat there.
I don't. I see Edith says I don't. Cool. Then I'll, first of all, I think we should give a kudos to Edith for stepping in, breaking the ice. First person who says something in a workshop, except for the speaker. I think it's a hero. So MLFlow is an open source MLOps platform that has plenty of capabilities, but the most important ones are that it can allow users to manage workflows as well as artifacts in a seamless manner. And I'll go towards the components of MLFlow. It has four core projects, or four core components. MLFlow tracking, it's used to record queries, to record and query experiments. For that, they have code. They look at the code, the data, but also the configurations and results. This is the component that actually allows reproducibility of results. And if we are being very honest, it gives us an easy and seamless path to look into how to get back to an experiment that we've done, I don't know, 3 days ago. MLFlow project, it's an add-on that was that appeared after as a need, and it packages data science code in the format that enables reproducibility, such that it can run on any platform, giving professionals flexibility to do it wherever they want. We have MLflow models, which basically deploys ML models in diverse environments, and model registry, which really focuses on storing, managing models in a centralized repository. I think it's very interesting how MLflow actually evolved over time, and I would strongly encourage you to look over it. But then we'll also play with it. We'll deploy it in a couple of minutes, and then we will chat about it. What's Charmed MLflow, you might wonder? Well, Charmed MLflow is Canonical's distribution of the tool. And to give more context, Canonical started as the company or the publisher of Ubuntu, but nowadays we have solutions across all layers of the stack. They're all open source. And we often get this question, what's the difference between the upstream projects since they're both open source? Well, we offer integrations with other tools such as Kubeflow, which is a great MLOps platform to run AI at scale, or with Spark, which is great for data streaming. But we also have observability capabilities. We offer timely bug fixes, ensure security patching. And then from an organization perspective, we offer enterprise support or managed services. And here we are, it's demo time. But before we get into that, maybe I'll take a look at what we will be using. Here I have some examples of hardware that we often run AI workloads on. We will be using an AWS instance this time that has Ubuntu on it. On top of it, it's going to have K8s, which is Canonical's distribution of Kubernetes. It's a low ops, super easy to install Kubernetes distribution. I'm happy to share the link in the chat at the end, but we'll also deploy it. And then on top of it, we'll have MLFlow with Jupyter Notebook as the main. I still believe that they are the tools that data scientists and machine learning engineers prefer, but of course I'm biased. It's worth mentioning that. And also Juju, which is a lifecycle management tool. I will not make it any longer. I'll go towards my EC2 instance. But while I do that, I'm happy to get questions. Let's see. Yep. Technology sometimes beats me. Cool. I'm not sure. Can you see well my my screen? Is it too small, too big?
That looks good to me. Oh, too small. Maybe up the font size a little bit.
Okay, 1 second. Let me. Too small. Is it bigger now? Yeah.
That looks quite clear to me, I think. Yeah.
Okay. And also thank you, Hugh, for both the template as well as being a very helpful moderator. I was just complaining that I don't have a second screen. Cool. So I'm SSHing into my EC2 instance. I think it's quite a basic activity. I use the public IP, and now I'll go directly to installing or to setting up my environment. The very first step will be to install K8s. And I think what's very special about this workshop is that I can do it live with you. I hope it doesn't crash because then I will look very bad. But it's quick enough and it's seamless enough that you can do it in a 1 hour workshop. And I expect it to take shorter. So as I mentioned, we are installing K8s. I'm installing 1.24, but newer versions are available as well. It's packaged into a snap at the moment. If you're not familiar with it, you can check it out as well. And with this occasion, I can also share the very first link, which is the guide. to deploy it. Meanwhile, it's installed, so I'll go to the next step, which basically makes I'm making microkits to run without the sudo part. Always, it's more convenient for my activities. Nothing too fancy. I'm going to next command to have access and ownership to the kubectl commands, and then I'll configure my cluster and the necessary service to run on top of it. Also, I'm promised to share more details with you about micro-K8s. Oh, not here. Okay. But in the chat. And since I heard people are not necessarily familiar with MLFlow, maybe is it supported on Minikube? Yes, it is. So yes, it is. That's a good question. Charmed MLFlow is supported on any CNCF conformant Kubernetes. And also maybe I will add something here while we are waiting or we are ensuring that it runs, that except for the fact that it's supported, since we are open source, you can always post or ask us anything on our Mattermost channel or on Discourse, such that they actually stay, and we will happily answer. I'll move towards installing Juju, which is, as I mentioned, an operational lifecycle manager for clouds, bare metal, and K8s. Or you can also ask us on Data on Kubernetes Slack channel. If you tag me, I'm there. I find it very impressive because now I'll share random thoughts while it installs. But when I started looking into AI and data science and all these things, there is no community to make it feel supported. And it really felt a bit of a wild fight, which is quite nice now that it's all nice and organized. And I don't think we genuinely or easily do that or recognize that. Now I'll bootstrap, I'll deploy a Juju controller and set it up with with micro-K8s. And my next step will be to add a model to the controller once this installs. So we might have to wait for a bit. I'm not sure, does anyone here works as a data scientist or has a data science or machine learning background? No, I see I have a problem. Okay, looks like it worked in the end. I see someone has done some basic stuff. Did you try Kaggle competitions? That's how I upskilled myself back in the days. Or I don't know, Hugh, do you have competitions in data on Kubernetes community?
Not competitions in the same way Kaggle does. I've seen those and those are great. We have a little quiz at the end of this call. That's not the same at all. No, we don't have competitions like that, but it's a very cool idea. And yeah, maybe we should.
Also, I think quizzes at the end of the calls are nice. I do like that idea as well. Okay, so we deployed MLFlow. Meanwhile, as you see, it took us 5 minutes. Then we will have to install Jupyter Lab on the same instance. I think I'll have to update. Bear with me. Meanwhile, I can also share this part of the guide with everyone in the audience. Also, I have to maybe share some fun projects that I've done in the past. One thing that I loved doing as a student was to predict my costs. So I used to build predictive analytics with based on my costs on how would I spend my money on. And that was life-changing to me. It would help me understand better and also turn into a more, I think, financially responsible person. And it was just for my use case, my own benefit, I'll have to say. Also, recently, I've heard a very nice story from someone from Thailand, actually, that used predictive analytics for a crayfish farm. So they had cameras above their buckets, and the gentleman built a model that would automatically detect if the shells of the crayfish would go down, because if they are not taken out, crayfish dies. And he built a model. It would automatically alert the owners if that happens. And it was quite a life-changing experience that grew the chances of crayfish to actually live longer. And these are just fun projects that I can think of. We will have more at Ubuntu Summit. We have an AML track only with this kind of projects, which is very exciting. Okay, so we also installed Jupyter Lab while I was sharing random stories or random use cases. It's a simple command pip install Jupyter Lab. Now we'll have to SSH once again to include all the necessary paths. So I'll open a new tab. I'll go to the right folder where my K pair is. And let me copy again my public URL. Because that's an older one. I've done some tests before. That's 64. Cool. Let's see. Yes, it worked. Also, I think one thing that we should be doing, one second, is to get our repository of models, of examples, because I'll take one example from their initial, I'll have two examples, but I'll anyway clone my repository of examples. As anything else that I shared so far, it's open source. It's available to everyone, not open source. You can play with it, contribute to it, have fun with it. Our engineering team maintains it. I'm not saying that everything that you will find here actually works. There are things that work, there are things that might fail, but also if you run into a problem and you solve it, we would really appreciate if you contribute back to it. They're just examples. Some of them are easier, some of them are not that easy. Okay, let's start Jupyter Lab. And now it's the big challenge. Does it work or it doesn't work? Let's see. That's my old instance. Let me take the URL. For those who are not familiar, I basically started Jupyter Lab and I took my the URL with the token to be able to access it. Maybe not. So 1 second. Let me bear with me one moment. Let me check a couple of things. The first thing would be to ensure that actually my proxy settings are okay. That's not what I hoped for, but they are. I have manually set the proxy. There's no reason for me not to. I think that happens like this always. You do it before, it works fine. Do it once again, something breaks. Let's see. I'm trying to SSH again. Let me see. No, everything seems active and seems working. Let's try again. I'm not sure. Can you actually see my UI?
You can see the. You can just see the. You can just see your terminal.
Okay, then one second, because it seems like it's working, but I need to stop sharing and then reshare on my UI. Bear with me for 1 second. Once again. Okay. Let me see. Trying to find the. Okay. Yep. Share the screen.
Good.
Yes, it's all good. I was just trying to ensure that I'm running fine. So
yeah.
I'm basically, to access Jupyter Lab, I use a Firefox browser. I will mention again, I realized I showed it, but it didn't, I was not showing the right window. I think it happens always in meetings. In order to do that, or to use Firefox, I use the proxy. I set it on manual proxy configuration, and then I change the host and the port. And then here we have two projects. Actually, 3 of them. This one is a very basic one. I'll run it and then I'll show you. And then there is a more advanced one. Also, we have one that runs with Kubeflow because we integrate very well with Kubeflow. Also, we can access the UI of MLFlow. We have also some of my older tests. And then we run it. I wish everything was smooth. Okay, here we set the environment variables. In order to do that, maybe let me reshare my terminal for 1 second. Let's see which one is it, because I have more open. 1 sec. We start a new tab. A clean one, actually. Cool. There we go. Okay, I'm going to a new tab, making it bigger again. So in order to see the environment variables, there are 2 types. First, you will need to access and configure MinIO, which is our storage object solution. For that, in one of the, I think in both of the guides I shared with you, you will see the necessary commands. There we go. So you see here the access key and secret access. Keep them in mind for a second because I cannot share 2 windows at the same time, but you will see that I update them in the Jupyter notebook. The other 2 ones that I need are the MinIO, the S3 endpoint, and then the MLflow, tracking, which is basically the MLflow tracking server URL. In order to do that or to run that, I will run a kubectl command, which is usually this one. There we go. And then we have here the IP and the port. That's what I will use. I'll move towards the other part just also for the sake of time. I realized I said, oh, it won't take long, but here I am. Anyway, so as you maybe remember, the access key, I set it to MinIO, the secret access. It's the one that I shared. Of course, I suggest usually when you run in production, don't share your keys the way that I just do now. Do it in a secure manner and ensure that they are securely stored. For the sake of time, I won't go through that now. And then I'm using a very basic example that uses a scalar and then a random forced regressor. Let's see, I run it. I have a warning. I'm using some outdated. Let's see. Why is it? I do have 2 warnings, but then if you look here, I just see my experiment. You can go to it. You can see plenty of things about it. You can see the input, you can see the output. You can see all the parameters that have been set. For example, max depth 6, max features 3. And if we go here, we can always readjust them. I modified one just to show you this. And whenever we go back here, you can actually refresh. There we go. And you will see that one of the parameters changed. You could also play around here. You could see the performance of it. You could compare performances as well. You have the models part, which is used for model management as well, which is important when you start building more than one model. And except for that, here you can see what model you used, what's the source, how long ago was created, as well as how long it takes. You might say that this is not important, and this is not important when we have basic examples like this one, but this becomes crucial, I'll have to say, once you start having more complex projects, because you will not only have to optimize on model performance or experiment performance, but also you have to optimize on how long it takes, because you don't want to train for too long on one hand, but also you don't want to waste all the resources when on the other hand, because at the moment the truth is that compute resources are quite scarce. I will stop here. There are plenty of other use examples. We have more of a complex one. Again, we go to the environment variables. Let me actually run them. We print them to ensure that we didn't do anything wrong. We install necessary libraries. We import everything that we need. We use data about wine. I almost wonder if my colleague who built it was not French, or who knows, since we end up having a wine example. But then we run it. This one is nicer because it has all the details as well and all the comments, so you understand what's happening. It also tells us that, hey, there is another version of it. And then here you are. You also see that here, in case you have an experiment that's not visible, it tells you that you should refresh. You also have the ability to add plenty of other things depending on what's important for you. Plenty of other columns in the default visualization. I do think that the UI is fairly intuitive. You can have more than one experiment, as you can see here. I created 2 of them for my own fun. That would be pretty much it on my side. The other examples are available there. I will go back to one more thing. I'll take 1 more minute and then I'm done. Actually, I mean, not done. I'm happy to get questions. There we go. When it comes to demo time, so this is what we showed, or what I showed you on the screen, but then how would you scale it? Well, by integrating new tools, and here I have Kubeflow as an example, because it can not only show that does not only do experiment tracking by integrating with MLFlow, but also it can automate pipelines. But then you can also use data fabric solutions. I mean, I have here Canonical data fabric, but you could use in general tools such as OpenSearch or MongoDB, depending on your use case. For example, if you need a vector database, OpenSearch is ideal. If you want to do data streaming, you will have to look at Spark as well. You can always consider integrated with the open source NGC containers as well. And then you will also, or you might also want to look further than just GPUs, having DGXs or EGXs in case you, I don't know, have a huge project or you work as part of an enterprise. And that was it on my side. Do you have questions for me? Nope, I see Alex has no questions. Okay then.
If you have any questions or anything that came up, just drop it in the chat. We will, this as you know, this has been recorded, it'll be published on YouTube afterwards, and we will, if there's any questions come up that you think of later, we can always send them to Andreea and she can give us some answers to publish on the blog as well. So if you have more thoughts, you know, please do. But yeah, thanks so much, Andreea. That was fantastic. I always like practical workshop where you know, show you doing stuff instead of just talking about it. And that was great. So thank you so much. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. There is one question there from Sunil. I don't know if you can see that, Andreea. I'm new to MLOps. How is it different to DevOps pipelines?
That's a good question. And I don't want to hijack the meeting, but I will have to share one slide, if you don't mind, Hugh.
That's fine. I don't mind at all.
It's a practical slide, and I always define MLOps as DevOps for machine learning. And I'll have to say that for those who are not familiar, MLOps is machine learning operations. And it's very similar to DevOps, but it's really focused on the activities that machine learning projects have. So you have the machine learning part, which is really cleaning the data, ingesting the data, preparing the data, and then building a model, which is very different than what DevOps used to have. But then you move towards activities that are more similar to what dev or development part would do, like packaging, verifying, validation. Those are similar. And then you move towards operations, which are again a bit different. Usually, operations in an ML project also include model monitoring, data drift monitoring, and capabilities that do not exist in DevOps, simply because DevOps as a practice doesn't have machine learning models. I will have to say here that I think in the long run they're going to merge even more, because there are plenty of similarities between them. And usually DevOps engineers find it easy to go with or find it easy to upskill to MLOps. I can also share a blog about this topic and a white paper that we have, but we can go. I'll share them in the chat.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Sunil and Andreea. There's a question there. When will the Ubuntu Summit be in 2024 and where? It's not specifically what you're talking about, but it's relevant since you're Canonical.
Yes, I'm happy to answer that, because Ubuntu Summit is very close to, I think, everyone's heart in the Ubuntu community, but also in Canonical, where it's going to be around the end of October. No, when? Where we are still determining. I'm pretty confident that it won't be in one of the two cities that we had. So last year we were in Prague. This year we are in Riga. So probably in another city that's not Prague and Riga.
Cool. There we go. Thank you. Yes, lots of excitement there. Cool. Well, thanks so much, Andreea. Again, if anyone's got questions, please drop them in the chat, or you can, you know, let us know afterwards or whatever. Andreea is also on the DoK Slack. Cool. Thank you so much. As I said at the beginning, as we do at the end of all of these town halls, we're heading into a little DoK quiz with the winner will get a DoK Run DoK shirt, which is always fun. We've got a code up on the screen. So if you go on your phone, you can scan that code there with your phone, and you can play on there. Or you can go to menti.com and enter that 8-digit code. They both do the same, you know, QR code or internet code all do the same thing. Go ahead and do that. And then, yeah, Menti, it's a great platform for this kind of thing. And once we've got a few people in there, we can get started with that. And the questions will come up they'll come up on the screen here, but they'll also be on your phone, and you tap the answers on your phone. So yeah, you need your phone to play. or I guess you could go to menti.com in your browser and enter that code as well. That also works. Should we, let's see, let's get started. We've got 5 players in there. I think people can still join, but yeah. The faster you answer, the more points you get. And these are all DoK related. In the 2022 DoK report, which category of users based on the data-driven enterprise scale represents the highest percentage of respondents? If you haven't read the DoK 2022 report, then it might be tricky to answer. We got leading users, advancing users, aspiring users, and lagging users.
Now you give me homework to read more things.
Yeah, we got one person got that right, the advancing users. Let's see. Lola up in first place. Cool. Nice one. Okay, question 2 of 5, obviously. The faster you answer, the more points you get. Of the many benefits of running data on Kubernetes, which was reported as the primary benefit? This would also be in that 2022 report. The ability to manage all workloads in a standard way, consistent environment from dev through production, ease of deployment, ease of maintenance, ease of scalability, or improved security. All of those benefits, of course. Yeah. Ease of scalability. Oh. Oh, that was weird. Cool. Which benefit was reported as the primary benefit for leading users? Ability to manage all workloads in a standard way, consistent environment from dev through production. Didn't we just do this? Or was this the same list of benefits for leading users, of course? Ease of maintenance, scalability, or improved security? Ease of maintenance this time. These are tricky questions this week, this month, Diogenes. Diogenes sets up the quiz for us, and yeah. And if next time read the report before the town hall, you'll be able to get the answers right. Which is the report is a primary benefit for lagging users. Same list of 6 benefits there. Ability to manage all workloads in a standard way. These are all benefits of running data on Kubernetes, of course, but yeah, primary ones for different segments. You got that. Watson, it looks like that puts Watson up in first place. And last question. Where can you learn about the many benefits of running data on Kubernetes? DoK to KubeCon in Chicago, DoKC Town Halls, 2022 DoK report, or DoK community, our community website.
Can we select all of them?
I have a feeling that all of them will be correct. Yeah, there we go. Let's see, who's that put in the lead? I think that puts Watson in the lead. No? Oh, sorry, I didn't see that there from Simba. Simba, awesome. If you, Simba, because I don't know your real name, if you could message me on the DoK Slack, or yeah, Simba, Alex. Oh, great. Yeah, reach out to the Diogenes or myself in the DoK Slack, or we can find you on there, and we can get a shirt to you. I'll find you on there. I don't see you in the DoK Slack, but if you join there, or I'll pop my email address in the chat here as well. There we go. You can drop me an email then, we can sort that out for you. Awesome. Thanks so much, everyone. Well done, Alex. And thanks especially to Andreea for a great talk. This will be on YouTube. You can watch it on there. In the next day or so, it should be up. And then our next town hall, we don't have the topic finalized yet. We're busy finalizing that now. Should have it published in the next few days. That'll be the same time next month. And we will hopefully see you all there and see you on Slack. Thanks very much, everyone.